So, Ethan Klein has tried to start a PR campaign to better his image ever since he ended the Leftovers podcast with Hassan and has started going on a very pro-Israel, center-left, I would say, grift for the span of like the last year or so, maybe even more. It really started when he made some very inappropriate comments about Aaron Bushnell, the man who burned himself alive. Essentially, he did it as a protest to what is going on in Israel. And while I do not advocate for anyone doing it that way, the comments that Ethan made afterwards, where he essentially tried to joke about the man's suicide, was incredibly gross.
Really struck me about that video was how he stood there.
That was my first reaction.
And I was like, wow, that I didn't even think that anybody could do that. So, I mean, I don't know how to talk about that, but his resolve was incredible. And what I said was he's really good at burning alive. And I mean that as the most sincere compliment possible.
And ever since then, he has been very outspoken on his pro-Israel takes, while also trying to frame himself as a pro-Palestine voice. And it really not even ever since, because like it's been going on for a while, how bad his channel has been suffering through his changes. He has lost a good portion of his audience. His viewership is incredibly low from what it was compared to. It's just not going well for him, and I think he's just trying to salvage what he can out of this. Also, apparently he had like a big schedule shift. They decided to really like switch up their scheduling when it came to the podcast, where some podcasts are just members only at this point. I think they did that honestly in a way to both increase their membership, but also because they just didn't like how people were, clipping them whenever they said like terrible shit on their podcast. And this led to Ethan coming back to TikTok, in which he makes a video where he is trying to essentially apologize for the pro-Israel propaganda that he has spread throughout the last year or so. And even then, it's not really that. He's really just more or less apologizing for trying to make Israel look as great as he claimed it was. So here we have this TikTok where, it's Ethan's apology in air quotes, because it's barely that.
I came back to TikTok to defend myself against wild accusations, but I also came back because I want to apologize for things that I genuinely got wrong. For example,
we're planning to go to Israel in June with my parents, and I'm actually really excited to go there. I want to show you guys how beautiful, how multicultural, how like free it feels for people, or just it's a beautiful place. It is. It's one of the most diverse places I've ever been.
Looking back, I definitely feel ashamed for the way I spoke about Israel with such levity at the time that a genocide was happening. I completely understand why people could watch this clip and judge me harshly for it. I want to apologize to anyone in the Palestinian diaspora or anybody that's been affected by this war that felt that I was trivializing the suffering, the horror that you've gone through. And for that, I deeply am sorry, and I'm ashamed of this clip.
And here's the thing. This is a good start when it comes to apologizing for the rhetoric that he has been proclaiming for the last year or so. But if you think this changes anything about how he has been portraying himself in that time, no, because during this time, not only has he been spreading wild pro-Israel propaganda, which he does not go into, he only apologizes for that clip where he says that he was going to take a trip to Israel to essentially whitewash the criminal acts that they have partaken in throughout their entire existence. And while that is a good start, again, he's not really slowing down when it comes to just not taking any credit for the way that he has responded to pro-Palestine creators online. And while obviously that's not as important as the genocide going on, it still played a big part in the overall resistance to pro-Palestinian voices online and people who try to get them deplatformed. Because of Ethan not understanding a Sabra hummus joke and taking it in the worst light possible, he had like 5 Twitch streamers suspended for 30 days, and they weren't like big streamers. These are not people who were able to just rely on the wealth that they already had. These were people who were small-time streamers who were probably just doing the best they could with the money that they were getting. Like, this wasn't Hassan that he got banned for 30 days. This wasn't like, someone in the same level as like QT Cinderella, Ludwig, Kai Cenat, the big streamers. These were like small-time streamers who covered politics. Sometimes some of them didn't even cover politics, but because they were a part of this tier list, because they organized this entire event at TwitchCon, which was just a Arab joke tier list, Ethan's community brigading Twitch to respond to this ended up with them getting deplatformed for 30 days. And he has not let up. He has teamed up with people like Dan Saltman.
We got a button sponsor. Look at it. Redact.dev, guys.
Dan Saltman is Destiny's right-hand man, podcast co-host, and sponsor of the H3 podcast.
They are a up-and-coming tech company that's really, I've been hearing a lot about them. They seem to be really doing great.
He's teamed up with like Destiny's community over the time. Obviously, we saw from like his response to Destiny being outed as someone who has CP. Obviously, you know, it showed that while Ethan claimed multiple times that he had no idea who Destiny was, that was obviously a lie. Now we are at the point where, you know, Ethan is trying to do like this not really a rebrand, but just trying to like, I think maybe get back the audience that he lost and feeling like this is the good way to do it. But he's not really taking any big leaps in changing his public image, because we also have this where Ethan Klein is trying to essentially what this post claims that he's doing. The entire H3 crew attempted to gaslight the audience into believing they didn't repeatedly mock the victims of Israel's terrorist attacks on Lebanon.
This is one I see someone say this, and I'm only bringing it up because I've seen it before, and I think it's worth just mentioning how insane this is. They've been trying to do this narrative that every time Frogan or an Arab creator is on stream, that Zach plays a pager noise.
What?
Tone deaf?
What?
Does she know? I don't know if she knows what that means. What was tone deaf about it? What was the tone I was deaf to? Ah, there it is. There it is. That's the tone.
You can almost tell that he was like trying to signal to Zach so hard to play that sound. And yeah, it's not a coincidence that this also took place not that long after the attacks on Lebanon, and that Frogan is Lebanese.
Which is obviously, and I don't even know where the fuck, if someone edited it in, I don't know where this even comes from. It's insane. None of us,
like, literally just trying to act like they fucking, you can literally see him acknowledge the sound, so there's no way that was edited in. You can literally, like, once the sound plays, he acknowledges the sound, and that you can tell, like, the whole setup before that. Do they really think their audience is this stupid? Some of them are. The ones that have stayed or are part of Destiny's community that came through when he did this big, like, pro-Israel fuck Hassan grift. This is why I cannot take his apology seriously at all, and why I feel like it should not be taken seriously by anyone unless he makes drastically big changes and owns up to the wrongs that he committed, which would probably take a long time by this point, because he just constantly has been using his platform for the last like 2 years at this point to just be harassing anyone that he tries to make out to be his enemy. That's it. So I feel like, you know, if he wants to start apologizing and wants to start to walk back some of the stuff that he has said, he needs to like take it seriously. He needs to own up to the shit that he has done and understand that just because he does that doesn't mean he's going to get his audience back. But, you know, he will at least have some good faith within the community for owning up. But even then, that shouldn't like absolve him from the wrongs that he has done. I just don't know where he's going to go from this, because I feel like if you are constantly willing to like lie to yourself about the wrongs that you have done while also trying to make yourself seem like you're going to be on the side of the angels again, it's just not going to work out for you. It's too contradictory.
First of all, Zach wouldn't do that, and none of us would be down with that.
No.
Just straight up.
If she contacted me somewhere else and I didn't see it, I apologize. But like AB said, we got the memo. We got the memo.
Did she?
We know you're rearing and ready to go.
Did she page you, Dan? Did you check your?
I didn't.
Yeah, Zach would never do that. Zach would never make light of pager attacks, except when he's doing it literally right here.
I didn't get anything on my pager. No. Yeah, I still use a beeper.
At this point,
I'll check again. I'm gonna search my email right now.
So the origin of that, and I would never do that.
I would never do that. In the previous clip, I would exactly do that.
It was post content court where Dan was playing an attorney, and I pulled a bunch of phone beepers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was making.
They're so desperate to try to absolve themselves of, participating in this mockery of people who went through this vicious attack, and try to use it against people they believe are their enemies. Like, they're just so desperate to be like, we would never do that. No, it was a part of this other thing entirely. We would never, ever make light of a situation like that. No, you did. And it's like, they can lie to their audience all they want. They can claim that clips are out of context or that they're edited. But, like, it doesn't stop the fact that, like, when you watch the clips, it's obvious that they're making a joke out of it. Doesn't matter whatever narrative they're trying to spin. That's what's happening.
Making a reference to that, which they took out of.
In what way was that a reference to anything in a content court? Like, it was very obvious that you were talking about denims and we're just like, did she page you? It's such a dumb way to try to, like, make it seem like this wasn't just an obvious attempt to make fun of the Lebanon attack.
Context, and it's got all skewed. But no, I would not.
Again, comedy.
None of us would. You wouldn't be down with that either.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Well,
That's
you
something you have to
comedy.
obsessively watch every second of the show so that you can, like.
What the fuck is he? Who wears a beanie like this? I know this has nothing to do with, like, the actual video, but, like, who wears a beanie like this? Are you trying to make your head look like a dick? Is that, like, supposed to be the joke? Maybe.
But
Find completely innocuous, unoffensive moments and try to, like, world build on it.
Some people are asking what the pager noise is. The Snark was claiming it was referencing the attack.
The beeper attack.
The beeper attack in Lebanon.
On Hezbollah.
Oh, here comes AB doing anything he can to defend his great boss instead of actually, like, speaking up against the terrible shit that he says and does.
Which I know innocent people. I know friends of family members who were fucking, they were fucked up by that. Even Lena's dad to this day won't sleep next to his cell phone because of it, because he's afraid. And if you think I would sit here and just let Zach make...
No, I would. I honestly do think you would just sit there. This is the same guy, by the way, who, like, went off on one episode to combat the haters, to combat the H3 haters, saying that he doesn't actually give a shit about Israel and Palestine.
Let me be clear. I don't care Israel, Palestine. I don't give a fuck. Fuck the world compared to my family.
Despite the fact that he has been trying to also make himself seem like a pro-Palestine ally, desperately. But then he just turns around and he's like, actually, I don't give a fuck about this. I just don't like how you guys are being mean to me. And not to mention, this has been something that I didn't want to talk about at the time, just because I wanted to, like, kind of avoid Ethan for a period of time. I was just like, I don't give a shit what he's doing. There was a period of time where Olivia left the H3 podcast, and she hasn't come back from my knowledge. She's done. And the reason why I didn't really want to cover it is because, again, I wanted to kind of, like, take a break on talking about Ethan, but also from what was being discussed during this entire time is that Olivia was threatening to take her own life, which only became public knowledge because AB told people during a stream, even though he was supposed to keep it private.
If you guys just heard the fucking phone call I just had, you guys would fucking be ready to go to war. I'm not gonna say what she said because I didn't get her permission to, but was informed by the person who put me in a position to defend myself that I should remove messages for the sake of others who were used as a pawn for their shitty lies so they could keep their job. So I ask you, leave her alone. AB's a snake, and he uses his friends to keep his job. I use my friends. She just told me she's gonna fucking kill herself, you fucking psychopath.
So apparently she took, like, this health break, like this mental health break away from the podcast, and she just wasn't doing well. And AB, despite, again, being told this confidentially, decided to reveal it to his Twitch stream. And this was also during the same time when he was going on about how this, like, oh, I don't care about Israel, Palestine, I'm just going after the haters. Yeah, I do believe that you would sit there and listen to these people do these things, make these horrendous jokes, because I don't think you have a spine at all, which sucks because I used to honestly be on AB's side a bit because I was of the mindset that like he was just doing his job, he was just going through, and maybe one day he will finally just wake up and leave. From what I saw online, he was a advocate for, you know, the Palestinians, but as time went on, it very clearly just felt like he was just kind of using that as a cover so people would just leave him alone. Or at least that's what it felt like, and it really feels like that now. So I have no respect with this guy. I feel like he would just be the person who would just sit there and take it, because probably he doesn't disagree with them. If I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't think this guy has a backbone. I don't think this guy has a fucking inch of courage in his body to actually like confront Ethan about any of this shit and just move on and do his own thing.
None of us would do that.
You're talking more. Yeah,
it's not funny. It's not funny.
It's
a joke. I don't know what about you guys. I don't joke about fucking like terrorism and killing civilians and shit. That's not funny to me. Big protests outside the NRA meeting, which was good. Do we have any insight into what they're actually talking about there at the NRA meeting that's today in Texas? Someone should bomb that building.
So yeah, there's also this part too. After, you know, this TikTok of Ethan came out, Hassan responded to it by saying that if Ethan was serious about his apology, he should drop the lawsuits that he has been pursuing against people like Caseytron, Denims, and Frogan for reacting to his content nuke.
Drop the lawsuits, Ethan. Drop the lawsuits. You know they're frivolous. You know it has nothing to do with copyright or anything like that.
Yeah. Like, it was very clear when Ethan went after these individuals that it was clear that he was just doing it for personal reasons. He doesn't actually give that much of a fuck about copyright. Especially when we're talking about a guy who literally like went to court over like fair use and shit like that and won on the side of fair use. To actually believe that he gives that much of a shit about copyright, it's laughable on his face. So yeah, essentially what Hassan is saying is like, you know these are frivolous. Everyone can tell they're frivolous. You're just doing it for personal reasons. Because if Ethan's apology was sincere, if he honestly feels bad for the pro-Israel propaganda that he has spread, he should apologize to the people that he has like attacked mercifully in the name of being like, you're not pro-Israel enough. So he should be apologizing to people like Hassan, to iDubbbz, to Caseytron, Denims, Frogan, all these people, Mike from PA, who's the guy who works for Matt Lieb, the guy who works for Good Mythical Morning, that he tried to petition and getting fired from Good Mythical Morning.
This is why I have nothing but disdain for these guys. He first of all, this guy Matt Lieb had Frogan on after my feud with her, and again, once again, characterizing me as a harasser. I have never started shit with any of these people. I've only ever responded to them. And Matt Lieb, he has Frogan on, and he describes me as a Jewish supremacist, and then he has Bad Empanada on. So yeah, fuck Matt Lieb. And I still think he should get fired. And I think that every day that Rentley keep this guy on the payroll is a disgrace to them.
Like, all these people that he has, like, harassed, targeted multiple times over, he should be apologizing to them. But no, he's still going after them. And in response to Hassan saying that he should drop the lawsuits, Ethan responded in one of his classic Instagram stories being like, what's funny is that spreading this false narrative that the lawsuits are frivolous, my only option to be vindicated is to win the lawsuit to prove it wasn't frivolous. If I drop them, now people would just say that it's proof that they are frivolous, so Hassan is forcing the lawsuit to continue. Here's the thing, Ethan. Everyone knows they're frivolous. Everyone knows they're frivolous. Even your own fans know they're frivolous. They don't care though, because it's against people they don't like. Nobody is on your side. Nobody except for the people who also are glad that you're going after these groups of people are on your side. That's it. Like, people like Tectone and Asmongold, who also don't like Denims and Frogan and Caseytron, they're the only ones who are celebrating about this, and they're fucking weirdo creeps. This is, again, another example of why I do not believe this apology is sincere at all. Why would he keep doing this shit? It just feels like he's trying to better his image in some way or form, but like, it's not gonna work unless he's sincere about it. So until he starts actually like meaning the shit that he says when he's apologizing for the pro-Israel propaganda that he has spread, it's not going to change. So that's all I really wanted to talk about. I don't know. I don't enjoy talking about Ethan, just because I feel like ever since the debate that he had with Hassan, I was just kind of over it. it was very clear that he was never going to learn the lesson from that debate of he's obviously just out of his depth and really should just try to get back to making, you know, silly fun content. But no, he's just continuously going to go down this route of attacking people who don't agree with him, and it's only going to result in him losing more and more of his fan base as people just get tired of it, and he's just left with a very hateful fan base that is just going to cheer on this blood sport while it sucks Ethan dry of his money and popularity. So that's all I really gotta say. Hello everyone, thank you for watching today's video. If you would like to see other videos like this, please leave a like and subscribe down below. If you would like to hear me talk about a lot more nerdy subjects such as anime, comic books, video games, movies, and even pro wrestling, you can check out my second channel, The Fruit Basket. And if you would like to see me play video games, I have a channel called FruitySaur Gaming where you can check out those videos there. Anyways, that's all I have for today, and I'll see you all next time.